I fall into the opening between subject and object and call it a condition of possibility. When I speak, only the ceiling listens. Sometimes it moans. If I have a name, let it be the sound his lips make. There is no word in my language for this. My kukum begins to cry, and then there is a world before me. Grieve is the name I give to myself. I carve it into the bed frame. I am make-believe. This is an archive. It hurts to be a story. I am the boundary between reality and fiction. It is a ghost town. You dreamt me out of existence. You are at once a map to nowhere and everywhere. Yesterday was an optical illusion. I kiss a stranger and give him a middle name. I call this love. It lasts for exactly 20 minutes. I chase after that feeling, which is to say, I want to almost not exist. Almost is the closest I can get to the sky. Heaven is a wormhole. I first found it in another man's armpit. Last night I gave birth to a woman and named her Becoming. She is 4 Cree girls between the ages of 10 and 14 from northern Saskatchewan. We are a home movie I threw out by accident. All that is left is the signified. People die that way. Hi guys, so I filmed that poetry reading a few weeks ago before the death of George Floyd and everything that's been going on since, the protests happening all over the world, but mainly in the United States, and just following the news about Donald Trump trying to declare the anti-fascist movement protesters as terrorists, being reminded of the racial injustice that persists in all different sorts of communities and in governments. It's really upsetting to me as someone who is an immigrant who lives in a disproportionately white community. And so I thought I would share this poem today, and in the coming weeks I'm also going to be sharing a few more racially specific poems from various poetry collections that I think are really important and from people whose voices I'd like to lift up at this time. This poem comes from the poetry collection This Wound is a World by Billy Ray Bellcourt. Billy Ray Bellcourt is a non-binary Native American writer, and I think their poetry is really powerful. I think the whole collection is incredible in terms of its political message and in terms of its humanity, and I think it can be a really important start to a conversation you can have with yourself and with others. And I really encourage everyone at this time to have these conversations that are difficult to have about white fragility, about racism, about erasure of minority communities, like trans people, non-binary people, Native American people, African American people. Like, there's so much erasure that goes on, maybe covert racism that you might not realize, to really think deeply about what kind of racist tendencies we all have internalized. Because to be honest, I have internalized racism, internalized colorism from my experience growing up in Egypt, which is a predominantly Arab community, and all of the immigrants that come from Ethiopia, from Sudan, from various other African nations, are not treated the way that they should be. They're not treated with an equal amount of humanity. And I think that we all need to evaluate those kind of tendencies that are usually structural, but these structural changes can only really happen when we evaluate ourselves and when we decide to actively be anti-racist in our individual lives and with other people, in conversation with other people. So please let the comment section be a safe space to share your thoughts on these topics, and I hope that this series can be a small drop in a much larger sea of change. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you pick up This Wound is a World, and I hope you tune in to the poetry reading series in the coming weeks. I hope to be sharing some really important poetry with you guys. Thanks.